Horror games are a staple and classic of the genre, probably the second most popular thing to movies, and there's been countless of them throughout the years, ranging in quality, and today, in this video, we will be going through 4 of the oldest and strangest horror games, widely varying in quality. We're going to be going through Nightmare on Elm Street on NES, Friday the 13th on NES, the first ever horror game, Haunted House for Famicom, Atari 2600, and Zombies Ate My Neighbors for SNES. And we're going to start from newest to oldest, so let's get into Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Alright, now this game is absolutely fantastic and exceeded my expectations so much. I thought this game would kind of suck just off of the cover alone, but it is absolutely amazing. You get to play as either the absolute GOAT Zeke that I need in Smash Bros. Right now, because he'd actually have an insane moveset for how much stuff you're going to do in this game, or the absolute loser woman, Zoe. I always be Zeke because, just look at, this is the best character design in all of fiction ever, and basically it's a kind of top-down game where you run around doing silly shenanigans and a bunch of stuff, killing not only zombies, but basically anything. You get to kill some evil little tiny onesie-wearing Chucky dolls, some Jason Voorheeses. These guys are the worst characters ever because... So basically you're in a hedge mage in one of these levels, and they can cut down the hedge mage to get to you, and they target onto you instead of just walking away after a certain amount of time, like with the zombies. But basically you just go around trying to find all of your neighbors and not have them die. A random door appears if you do it, and it's an arcade style game where you just try to get to the most you can. You get a bunch of a variety of weapons. Some of them are Uzi gun, soda cans, apples, and a rocket launcher. These are your main weapons, but you get some special powers, like one that turns you into a purple brooding beast, and one that also lets you open certain doors that you can find more neighbors in, and just all of the designs and all of the pixel art. It's an NES game, and it's pretty beautiful and one of the best NES games, maybe even my favorite. So it's just a fantastic game, a fantastic time. If I did have to say one problem, it might be that it's pretty hard to kill an enemy, because you have guns and stuff you can fight the enemy with, but it's pretty hard to kill an enemy with when they're chasing after you and they're right on your tail, and that's kind of annoying. The enemies can stack up pretty easily, but overall it's a pretty fair game that it's pretty fun because you get 3 lives. Overall, this is a must play. You can find it almost anywhere because it's an SNES game, so you don't even have the excuse of not having an NES. So yeah, this is honestly a 9.5 out of 10 game that is near flawless. I'm probably going to be playing or talking about this in the future because, I just cannot get enough of Zombies Ate My Neighbor. So now let's get into the NES titles. This truly does show the duality of retro horror games. We get the absolute piece of perfection that is Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And then we get Friday the 13th for NES. Angry Video Game Nerd was completely right when reviewing this. This is an awful, awful piece of absolute garbage. There's really nothing positive I can say. I guess the sprite work is interesting, but you don't really get to see Jason much. Instead, you get to see the epic Friday the 13th characters like crows and fishmen and zombies. It's so awesome, guys. 2 out of 10. Play the footage. I recorded a little bit of my awesome gameplay, and I think this just overall gives you the feeling of this entire video game. Alright, so NES has continued its streak of making awful horror games with Nightmare on Elm Street for the NES. Now, I don't think this is nearly as bad as Friday the 13th because the graphics are much better, the movement is much more polished, it actually has Freddy in it, which is actually a pretty cool way because the most interesting part of this game is you basically have a dream meter that goes down if you, don't do anything for long enough or if you get attacked. And the dream meter slowly goes down and you can go be like in between the normal and the dream world. And while in the dream world, you have another timer that happens that makes Freddy appear and you have to have a boss fight against him. I think that's really cool. All of that is implemented very, very, very well. Much better than I thought it would be and is definitely the highlight of this game. And it also, like, actually has some related stuff. Like, I have no idea who you're playing as. That is definitely not, the main character of, Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. But I don't really care because, there's, like, some Freddy hands that stick out of the ground. And sure, you're still getting attacked by, like, skeletons most of the time. But it's not as bad as Merman, like in Friday the 13th. So getting into the building is actually the hardest thing to me, and they pack the overworld with way too much enemies. It is so hard traversing throughout this overworld, and the platforming is not fun at all. Overall, the controls kind of suck, and you just get walls and walls of enemies. Like, these freaking bats are so awful. There's one slightly above your head that just roams around you. How do you attack that? You have a normal punch. You can't jump in the air. Like, you have to time that perfectly. Killing the enemies is absolutely awful, and just there's way too much. You don't have a really long-range item at all, and overall, the entire freaking layout battling sucks. And sure, I have been pretty positive of this game, but it still does suck. It's just I'm kind of riding off of the high of the absolute disaster that was Friday the 13th. So overall, this game still kind of sucks. I'm feeling like a 3.5 out of 10 on this one because it just is not polished. I do think the dream sequence thing is cool, but when your base game isn't good, it still isn't gonna save the game. It just makes it slightly better and I guess pretty interesting. Now let's get on to the first ever horror game. Ooh. Let's just say after playing this, I have a little bit more weight in my pants. You can definitely tell this is the first ever horror game. It is very bare bones, and it doesn't really have much going for it at all. You go through 4 identical rooms that just change the color and try to keep going through rooms, and there's a scary red spider, a scary green arched bridge, and a ghost. Those things are your enemies, and you are a pair of eyeballs, which I think is pretty creative and awesome and cool because they have 0 sprite worth they can work with because they are basically making this on a potato. I think for being an Atari game, it's fantastic. If I was a child back in the 1800s when this game was made, I would love it. But nowadays, I have Friday the 13th for NES, and I'd still play this because this is a better game than Friday the 13th for the NES. But nowadays, I actually have Geist for GameCube. I give this game a 3 out of 10. So, overall, are old horror games good? No! 3 out of these 4 games are absolutely awful. Awful garbage. And one of them is one of my favorite games of all time. But that's a dime a dozen, and that's the newest game. So, newer horror games are better. I don't always agree with newer games being better, but definitely in the horror landscape, you need to have to be able to do a lot in horror. So, having just all of this variety and technology to actually refine and create truly amazing horror games really will just evolve with time. It will get better and better. When VR is just as good as a PlayStation 5, horror games will be fantastic. So for now, I'll leave you with this. Just play Casper and the Ghostly Trio for PS2.